Hi guys, welcome to this Tuts Plus screencast tutorial series. My name is Corey Simmons, and in this series I'll show you how to get started with the Gumby framework, and we'll actually build a beautiful interactive parallax website from scratch. Let's get started by installing Gumby's command line tool, Claymate.
First you need a few things to install Claymate and to use it, but it's cool because like with Claymate, you can just create projects on the fly. Like you don't have to go to gumbyframework.com and click on customize and pick out all the things that you want and all the things you don't want, and change all the colors and stuff like that. You can just say Claymate install, and it'll install Gumby to whatever directory you're in. And what it does is it uses a package manager called Bower to go grab Gumby, and then it'll make directories and copy stuff from the Bower directories to those new directories. And the Bower components, which is how Bower does its package managing stuff, I'll explain that here in a second. But the Bower components, they basically like they're safe, the ones that are important for Gumby. So why that's cool is you can like make like an entire website, and then later on you can go and just update those Bower components to get like Gumby's like most recent changes and stuff like that, like core Gumby stuff. So like it won't break your website whenever you update. Now for like big changes and stuff, like like say whenever they upgrade to right now they're in version 2.5, whenever they upgrade to like 3 or something like that, then you might need to be more careful about that. But in general, it makes upgrading a lot easier, and just managing all of your assets a lot easier. So first, what we need to do is to do npm install Claymate. npm is Node's package managing system. You should have Node.js and be using npm anyway, but in case you're not, go to nodejs.org, click install, run through the installation. And it's just kind of like a web design standard thing. Like if you don't have Node.js and npm installed on your system, then just trust me, you want it, so go get it. And then open up your terminal or command prompt and type in npm install, and then pass it the G flag. And here it doesn't say the G flag, but if you pass it the G flag, it'll install it globally, so you can use Claymate anywhere in your system. So install globally Claymate, and then npm will run through here, install Claymate and all of its dependencies. So like up here you see Bower's a dependency, Uglify.js, just all kinds of dependencies and stuff. Once it gets all that, then we can type in Claymate, and it'll show us all the help for it, like all the usage options for it. But let's go ahead. We're going to need Bower. Actually, it installed Bower for us. Yeah. So we don't need Bower. We just do that. We just do Claymate, or npm install G Claymate, -G Claymate. All right. So now we can use Claymate. So let's just create a directory here. Say Dropbox, go to Sandbox, and make directory Gumby Funi. Okay, let's delete that directory and spell it right. Gumby Fun. That's what I meant to type. Okay, let's clear the screen. Forget that error ever happened, and we'll cd into Gumby Fun. Okay. So now we're in our Gumby Fun folder. There's nothing in it. And now all we have to do is type Claymate install. And wait a few minutes. Not even a few minutes, just a few seconds. And now if we look, we've got all these folders in here. So let's open this up in Sublime Text. So you see we've got this Bower components folder with Gumby in it. Any Bower component you install, like for instance if we said Bower install jQuery, it would just install jQuery side by side here. Yeah, so you see it created that folder, and what it does is it just grabs the GitHub repo of these folders, and then you're able to include certain files and stuff from these folders within your project. What Gumby does, like, let's go ahead and delete this jQuery one. What Gumby does is here in their index file, you can see like some of the stuff they include is directly from the Bower Components folder. So that means you can update this Bower Components Gumby, and it'll update like these JavaScript files and things of that nature. So that's why they're doing it with Bower, and I think it's a good idea. But a lot of times Bower will cause like a lot of like clutter and stuff to get into your project. So they go ahead and do like a lot of the groundwork for you of just copying out the folders that are relevant and creating empty folders, so that these big libraries and stuff can compile directly into this empty folder, or directly into these real bare bone minimum folders here. So really, like this from the CSS folder down, that's your Gumby project. The Bower components, those are just components, those are just like JavaScript libraries, things like that. So let's close up some of these folders here, and close up that, and close up all that. Okay. So you may have noticed also, whenever we were looking at these Bower components, there's a lot of JavaScript being loaded here, like a lot of different JavaScript files. And it's okay, but if you know how to use Claymate, you don't have to have all these different HTTP requests. You can just have like a few HTTP requests. So right now we're loading up like Retina, Fixed. These are all called modules, all these UI things, and they just add like UI script stuff. So like checkbox will give you the ability to have pretty checkboxes. Same thing with radio button. Tabs will give you some cool like little jQuery tabs. But it's like, if you're not going to use all of these, then you can either you can comment them out just in case you might want to use it, or you can just delete it if you know you're never going to use tabs. Let's say we're never going to use all that stuff. Or you can just delete all this stuff, and then you can use Claymate to build the modules and add-ons and things like that all into one minified JavaScript folder or file. And one of the things is like also with this is like you have to load up these modules and stuff after this Gumby.js file and before this init.js file. So I mean, like, it becomes kind of a pain in the butt. So let's open up Gumby.json, and this is Claymate's like it's a JSON file, like where like all the settings and stuff for it are. So here, like, it shows you where it's going to build to. So whenever we run Claymate build, it's going to build from the Gumby path, Bower components Gumby. So it'll go in here, and then it'll start like sifting through these folders and stuff, looking for cool things to build. And then the out path is JS. So so basically it'll go into Bower components Gumby JS, and then start like finding folders and files and stuff through there and minifying them into our JS folder, but only the ones that we specify. So if we go over here to the Claymate page, we did installation. There's some configuration stuff where you can do this by the command line, and you can specify Gumby path and stuff by the command line. But why do that whenever you can do it with JSON, and then just always have that file and just automatically build like that? So that's what we're going to do instead. So here's modules. So here's just some example modules. So for instance, right now, if we just ran Claymate build, it's going to build like all this stuff, like everything it sees. I believe that maybe all the UI components anyway. Yeah, because this is all like almost like vendor stuff, like jQuery modernizer. So in the UI, I'm thinking that, yeah, it's just building all of the UI components in the libs folder. So we don't want, like, let's say that we don't want to use navbar, or let's say we don't want to use radio button, retina. We're not going to use skip link. We're not going to use tabs. We're not going to use validation. So the only ones that we're going to use, the only modules that we're going to use are fixed, navbar, skip link, and toggle switch. Okay. So the way we do that is we'll make an array, and then we'll tab over there, and now we'll just start adding in the names of these. So we want fixed, and we'll put a comma after it, and then we want navbar. We want, I think, just toggle switch. Oops, and toggle switch. Okay, now if we save that, and now let's run Claymate build. Now you see, we just cut like all of our JavaScript in half, basically. The other cool thing is, if we go over here and we look at this actual minified file, or if we look at our index here, now we can get rid of like this init because it's been compiled in there. You see, and we can get rid of Gumby CS, or the Gumby JS up here. And since we're not loading half of these, and the ones that we are loading are already concatenated and minified into this min file, we can just get rid of all this junk. And whoosh, we killed it. Alright, and now we need to actually include this our JavaScript that's been minified. And I don't believe that it's in libs. No, it's not. So let's just delete that libs right there. Delete that in comma. Just put it right there. Okay, so now what's going to happen is whenever we load up our page, Claymate build has made this minified version of like all of our JavaScript that we wanted, and it's added it in before our plugins and before main.js. So in plugins, you know, Bower components, JS plugins. So yeah, here's just like some plugins and some place where maybe you can put your custom JavaScript. Maybe you don't want to put your custom JavaScript in this Bower components folder at all though. Maybe you should just have like a script tag that's like custom.js or something like that, or app.js. And then create a new file here called custom.js, and then just import that last or something. Okay, that's probably a better practice than putting your JavaScript up there in Bower components. Okay, so the other thing that you can do with Claymate is use add-ons. So something that Gumby didn't want to include in all of their project creations and stuff like that are like these big JavaScript libraries, which extensions and add-ons are synonymous. They're the same exact thing. So whenever you're working with Claymate, they're called add-ons. Whenever you're here in documentation, they're called extensions. And basically, they just didn't want to include like all this JavaScript, because not everybody's going to need responsive images. But I mean, it's pretty cool. Like you suddenly get access to be able to say some of these like Gumby attributes, where you can say, serve this image at this size. Shuffle does some cool stuff where, at certain widths, you want to display it in like, that order. So basically, it's just source ordering made incredibly easy with like a Gumby attribute. Parallax, it's got the cool parallax thing. You can see the poster there touching the bottom, and then if we scroll up, you know what parallax is. Okay, so that's the one we're gonna work with because everybody loves parallax, and they love it whenever it's like really dramatic and harsh and just pew! So whenever it's subtle, people don't like subtle parallax. They want it to be powerful. So the way to install that is to go to, just copy that, Bower install Gumby Parallax, and I'll just paste that because typing's for losers. Okay, so now if we go into Bower Components, we can see we've got another folder here, Gumby Parallax, that has the repo of Gumby Parallax in it. Also has the JavaScript file and the Sass file. So what we need to do is to open up our Gumby JSON file again, and where this is an add-on, we say add-ons, and then again, even if you're just doing one, you have to make it an array. And this time though, add-ons aren't things that are like built in to Gumby. So like the things that are modules, they're built in, you can just refer to them by name. The add-ons aren't, you have to refer to them by path. So we'd have to do Bower Components, Gumby Parallax, Gumby.parallax.js, and remember what I taught you earlier, that typing sucks. Yeah, typing sucks. So we'll go over to Claymate, go down here to the very bottom, and go down to almost the very bottom where it says add-ons. Yay. And now we'll just copy all that and put it right there into this array. Okay. So now whenever we build, it's going to find the add-on, the parallax add-on, and it'll concatenate and minify that as well. So we'll do Claymate build, and there you go, you see? It has added it. So now our concatenated and minified thing has all the stuff that we could need to make a cool site with fixed navigation, a nav bar, toggles and switches, and parallax scrolling. So that's the gist of Claymate. It can do some other cool stuff, but I don't know. It gets kind of abstracted and weird at some point, but I don't know. It's really powerful. It's pretty cool, so use it.
In the next video, we'll be covering Gumby's grid system and how to make it semantic using Sass. My name's Corey Simmons, and from all of us here at Tuts Plus, thanks for watching.